Hey everyone, it's William from Scammers Action. We are doing our May Q&A. I wanted to welcome everyone who is joining us today. We appreciate all of you who have joined us and also those who wrote in asking some questions. We're going to get to as many questions as possible. Realize it's 8 o'clock here Los Angeles time. We're going to try to do a second Q&A hopefully later on in the night if I'm still awake. I'm going to try to do one in the middle of the night so that our friends in Europe and other countries are awake and they can join in on our Q&A. So with that being said, I want to thank everyone for joining us. We have a lot of great questions, a lot of things to cover today, and we appreciate all of you for supporting our page as well as our YouTube channel, Scamming Scammers. So we're going to start off something really quickly before we get to the questions. I want to address it. It was actually asked by one of our regulars to address as well, and we've addressed this before on our page, and we'll continue to do it. Look, nobody likes a scammer, whether they're Africans, whether they're Chinese, whether they're Americans. Nobody likes a scammer. However, a lot of people lately have been writing very nasty racial comments on scammers' photos as well as on profiles that we post. Anna and myself, we're going to say this once more, we're not racist people. I will not and she will not tolerate anybody calling somebody racial slurred names like monkey, baboon, or even the N-word. That is forbidden from our page. It's forbidden from our YouTube channel. So if you use a racial term to write on a comment on a photo or use a nasty racial slur on any posts, you will be banned. There's no I'm sorry, I didn't know, or I don't care because that person's black. It's not tolerated here. When you use racial comments, you're no better than the scammer. Okay? So don't use racial slurs on our page, you'll be banned. And that's it. But I just want to cover that really quickly because it's getting a bit ridiculous. We check every single notification on our Facebook page as well as our YouTube channel, and there are too many of you using racial comments. Please stop doing it. And that's all I'm going to ask you to do. We will ban you automatically. All right? Thank you. So we're going to start. We've had a lot of questions, as I said, and a lot of things happening. As you know, Facebook has come under some scrutiny for their practices. There was a recent post, news story about them getting into the dating scene and dating market. We're not happy about it. I don't think anybody's very happy about it. Just remember that there are scammers on every dating site, whether it be here on Facebook, if they open a dating page, whether it be on Match, eHarmony, Our Time, Christian Mingle, whether you pay or you don't pay, doesn't matter. They're scammers. And we've talked about this before. Scammers are on paying dating sites. So if you're paying $35 a month for a site like eHarmony and you think, well, there's no scammers on there because I have to pay, that's simply not true. The more sophisticated scammers use stolen credit cards to sign up for these paid dating sites. And so if anything, you're going to get a more sophisticated scammer on a site like that because they've already had the ability to steal credit card information, put it into the site, and sign up for the site. So be wary of that. Don't feel safer because you're on a paid dating site. If anything, be as alert as you would if you were on a free site. There's scammers on every site, no matter what the subject is. There's scammers on groups that, they join groups with, there's groups on Facebook like, my child has cancer, and there's support groups on Facebook. Scammers will actually join those groups and pretend that they have a child with cancer too. There's no limit to what they'll do. So remember that when you're on groups and all of a sudden this handsome man, starts talking to you and saying, well, my child has cancer too. We have a lot in common, dear. It could likely be a scammer. And they have no morals. They have no limits to what they'll do. They'll pretend they have cancer. They'll pretend their children have cancer or a horrible disease, and they'll scam you. They'll pretend they have the same disease you have just to try and get your affection and your attention. Okay? So keep that in mind. Just keep remembering that scammers will pretend to have, critical illnesses or have their family be sick as well. So don't feel safe because you're in a group, because a lot of group admins don't scan and check people out as often as like we do with our pages. So you could have a group with cancer survivors and have 15 fake profiled scammers in there. So please be careful when you're talking to somebody online and they claim to have the same disease as you, or they claim to be sympathetic to you. Okay, so just be really careful no matter where you are, no matter what groups you're in, no matter what you're doing. All right, so we're going to start off with our first question. And it comes from a fairly new person to the page, but it's an excellent question. And they asked, how long after meeting someone online should you meet in person? What if the person always makes excuses? It's kind of a complicated question because I can only speak from experience. When I met Ann on the internet, we started chatting around February. We decided to be, exclusively date each other online in May. And in July, I flew out to Australia to see her. There's no really set timeline on when to meet someone. It depends on the circumstance. If you're talking to somebody who's in another country, of course, it's going to take time to save money for flights and vacation time from work and things like that. If you're talking to somebody who lives one state away from you or the next city from you, I would definitely try to push for meeting within the first few weeks if you've really hit it off. If a person keeps delaying meeting you, making excuses, saying they have a contract, they have to work out of, overseas, they have to do this or that, I would definitely question that person. If someone is genuine, really wants to be exclusively with you and date you, they will find a way. I'm not a rich person by any means. Anne is not a rich person. We together found a way for me to come and meet her. So, just remember that. And like I said, if it's overseas, it might take them a little bit longer, but if you're in a long distance relationship with somebody, they will Skype with you. They will FaceTime with you. They will chat with you through video. And that's one big thing that is a huge red flag. And we have many victims come to us and they say, well, he just emails me. We talk on Hangouts, but he never shows his face on camera. I'm going to tell you right now, if you're genuine and you want to meet somebody, you will talk on camera. You will talk face-to-face on the camera. You will make as many plans as possible to come see that person. You would not keep delaying it. So, I don't really have an answer as far as the time frame. I can't tell you it should be 6 months, it should be 5 months. But I would tell you that if you genuinely want to be with someone and you want to meet them, then you will definitely make every effort to come and see them. And you definitely will talk on camera. That's free. You can FaceTime with anybody for free. So if someone's really genuine, they will FaceTime with you. If you're talking to somebody and they keep delaying it, and they keep saying, oh, dear, we're going to meet Friday, and then they say no, and then they say, we'll meet next week, and they say no, and then a month later they say, well, I've got a contract, I've got to go to Malaysia, I can't meet you. That's a huge red flag. Any genuine person is going to do all they can do to be with someone they are falling in love with or in a relationship with. So that would be my best advice. But again, FaceTiming, Skype, all of that is free. And anyone can Skype with you anytime. So if they're refusing to cam chat with you in the least and they don't want to meet, I would just move on. It's more than likely they're a scammer, but if they're not, then there's something very, very wrong with them if they don't want to see you or talk to you or let alone try to meet you, okay? So just remember that when you're talking with somebody. Our next question, do you find more and more scammers are using their real profiles and just changing the name and pics? Why are they doing this? We are finding more and more scammers are using their real profiles. There's a couple reasons for this, and I'll tell you. The reason for it is Facebook is making it harder and harder for fake profiles to stay active. You make a profile on Facebook, I can guarantee you within probably a few hours, a few minutes, maybe a week at the most, they're going to ask for ID, verification, something. And they will kick you off. Even legit people that make profiles get kicked off Facebook if they're a new profile. So what the scammers are doing is they're using their real profile. Let's say that the scammer had a profile for 5 years. It's an older profile. It's in their real name. We'll just use the name, Mensa Oyuwale Smith or whatever. And he's from Nigeria. He's got all his real photos, his real friends and everything. One day he decides, you know what, I want to scam. So I'm going to change the profile photo to a soldier. I'm going to change my name to Bob Smith. And they do. They do it quite often. However, the URL still says, oh, you will, Nigeria boy. And so all they've done is change the name in the profile photo, but kept their real profile. It makes it harder and harder because Facebook doesn't tend to remove older profiles. If your profile is 3, 4, 5, 10 years old, Facebook's going to say it doesn't violate community standards, and they're going to let it go. It doesn't matter if it's got a soldier on it. It doesn't matter if you were scammed. They're going to look at the age of the profile, the photos, that kind of thing, and say, oh, this person's been on here since 2009. They're fine. So that's what they're doing. They're using their real profiles, and they're getting away with scamming that way, and they're keeping their profiles open. And it's kind of a shame because a lot of victims will come to us and they'll say, well, I reported the profile, doesn't say it's fake, and they kept it open, the guy must be real. Well, no, it just means that Facebook looked at the age of that profile and said, wow, this is an old profile, it's fine. So that's what's happening, and they are using more and more of their real profiles, and fortunately for us, they are keeping some of their photos open and videos and friends that link them to videos and friendship things, and so we're able to find a lot of the real faces that way. And a lot of them just simply either don't know how, or they don't realize that an old profile that's 7, 8 years old is going to have old photos on it, and that's a good thing for victims too. When you're talking to a profile, look at the URL. If it's a Nigerian name and the name on the profile is Bob Smith, it's more than likely a scammer. And once you look at that profile, look through the photos, look through the featured photos, look through any videos, look at the timeline, scroll to the bottom of the timeline, go back a year or two, and if you see someone talking in an African dialect on the page, or talking about scamming or something in Nigeria, then you know automatically it's a fake profile. It's a Nigerian person pretending to be a Westerner. So do a little detective work when you're first meeting someone. Don't friend them right away. Look at what you can see on the profile. We look at profiles all day long that people bring us, and we don't friend these people, but yet we find out who they are. We find out they're Nigerian, they're from Ghana, they're from somewhere in West Africa, just by scrolling the timeline. We don't do what you can't do. So just scroll the timeline, do some detective work, play detective. It'll save your heart, it'll save your money, and it'll save your time. You don't have to waste your time talking to a fake soldier, okay? All right. And again, thank you for everyone for joining us. There's quite a few of you on here. And again, I'm going to try to do a second Q&A later tonight, and hopefully it'll coincide with our friends in Europe and our friends in other countries that want to be on here and ask questions. And if we do a second Q&A later tonight, if you guys want one, I'm just going to make it an open Q&A. You can type your questions in the chat, and I will go ahead and answer them as they come in. And then if anyone does have questions, you can always ask us, and we'll put them in the next Q&A as well. So we had another question come in, and it was a request from one of our regulars, and she would like us to touch on the subject of sextortion scams and why you should not pay a scammer. So a lot of you should know what sextortion scams are. It's when you're in an online relationship, or maybe talking to somebody for a few minutes, and you get on Skype, or you send sexy photos to that person, and that person takes those photos and says, if you don't pay me $1,000, I'm going to send them to your mom, your dad, your friends, your family, your coworkers, your boss. And a lot of scammers will use these scams in different ways. Another popular way for them to use them is they will say, especially with guys, they will say, well, come sexy chat with me online. Come on cam, show yourself, do something for me. And then after that person does an adult act on cam, the scammer will say, I have a video of you doing that. If you don't pay me $1,000 or whatever, I'm going to show it to everybody, all your friends. And this is a good reason why you should not friend people you don't know. Because scammers, once they get into your friends list, they find your friends, your boss, your family, your tagged friends, your coworkers, everyone that's in your social network. They take all that information, they hold on to it. When they do a sextortion scam, once they get those naughty photos of you, then they go ahead and they threaten to send them out to your friends and family. And some scammers do. Some scammers will actually send them to family. We've had victims that said, my mom got a nude photo of me. What we tell people, and we've always said this, don't pay the scammer. If you give a scammer $1,000 because he has a sexy photo of you, the scammer still has the photo. It doesn't go away magically because you paid them. All that's going to do is the scammer is going to say, okay, send me $1,000, and you send him $1,000. The next day, the scammer says, you know what? I want $2,000. You know what? I want another $2,000. And they keep extorting you for money. Once you've sent a photo, it's not like it was back in the 80s where if you had a photo, you could just rip it up and that was the end of it. These are digital photos. They stay forever in the hands of a scammer once you send them. They can be duplicated, printed, they can be sent off, emailed to hundreds of people. So the best advice we have, number one, if you did send a naughty photo, you're an adult. Adult people do adult things. We all make mistakes. When you're in a relationship with someone, you do things for that person. And so if you did send a naughty photo, you did it. Own up to it, block the scammer, and move on. You know, if you're worried about your coworkers and friends, a last resort, you could just tell them I'm being stalked and harassed by a scammer, and just let them know what's happening. And they can, your friends, at least good friends, would block that scammer. Give the person that profile link and say, this person is trying to extort money from me. Would you block them from your friends list or block them from your contacts? And most legit people will do that. There's nothing you can do once you send a photo, and no amount of money is going to make it go away. And you just have to own up to what you did. And as far as, you know, and this is a little embarrassing to say, some people are very embarrassed by this. I'm one of those people. I'm just out there like, this is how it is. We've had victims come to our inbox and they've said to us, well, I sent a photo of my breasts. And I will say back to them, well, is your face in the photo? And they say no. I said, well, then don't worry about it. You know, a lot of these people that pay for these extortion scams, these sextortion scams, they say, well, no, my face wasn't in the photo. It was, you know, my butt or my breast or whatever. Well, unless you're going around showing your boss and your coworkers your breasts all the time, they're not going to know it's you. So don't worry about it. Block the scammer, laugh at him, block him, say, you know what, you're done. You know, if you're that concerned and it is showing your face, like I said, tell them you're being extorted, someone's harassing you, and just let them know the profile that's harassing you so that the friends can block them. But above all, don't pay. Don't pay them. Don't get scared. Don't freak out. Don't, you know, jump out a third-story window. Just accept what happened, block the scammer, and move on. And that's the best course of action you can take. Do not send them any money, and don't bargain with them. Don't write back to a scammer and say, I'm so embarrassed. Please don't do this. I have a great career. I have a great job. Don't tell them anything. Just say whatever, block them, and move on. Okay? And unfortunately, sextortion scams, you know, a lot of West African scammers do it, but there's a lot of people, scammers that live in Morocco and in Arab countries that scam other Arab men as well. So just remember that it's not only West Africans doing that type of scam, and there's scammers all over the world, but there's a lot of them that are in Morocco. It's one of the #1 countries in the world for sextortion. So just remember that and keep it in mind. But never pay them. Never, ever pay them. Someone in the chat had asked us where all the scams come from. It's a good question. Scammers are all over the world, and we say this quite often. People tend to think they're all African, and they're not. I mean, a lot of West Africans do romance scams, and they use soldiers' photos and businessmen and things like that, and porn star photos. But a lot of scammers they're from all over the world. There's scammers in Thailand, Russia, China. There's scammers in the United States, Australia, the UK. They're all over. It's just that different cultures do different kinds of scams. You have a lot of Eastern European scammers doing, you know, skimming and carding and extortion of credit card numbers and things like that. The West Africans tend to use romance scams. It's just they come from all over. There's no one place that scammers come from, but there are a lot of West Africans doing the stolen photo romance scams. So I hope that answers your question. I just wanted to say hello to everybody in the chat and hope you're all enjoying this. And if you have any questions, you can type them in the chat. I'll try to answer them as I go, but the chat goes pretty quickly. So if I don't catch your question, you can always come to our inbox, or you can, you know, ask again, and I'll try to catch it. And like I said, we'll be doing another Q&A hopefully this evening, well, into the late morning for me, so that our friends abroad can catch it as well and ask questions. All right. So the next one comes from a nice lady who wrote to us yesterday, and she said, what if you talked to a military man for like 8 months? He wanted money for his internet and money for his leave. He said he was in love with me, and I didn't send him any money, but I stopped talking to him for 6 months. Then, out of the blue, he friended me back, acting like everything was okay, and said that he missed me. Why would he do this? Scammers do this, okay? To a scammer, you're nothing but a number, you're nothing but a client. And that scammer might have been talking to 5 different women. Out of the 5 women, maybe 2 of them went ahead and sent money. He's put you on the back burner, but he's not eliminated you as a possible client to pay him. So a lot of scammers, what they'll do is if you refuse to pay money, they'll ignore you, they'll go away. And then they may come back 6 months, a week, a year. We've had people tell us, they were almost scammed 5 years ago and the scammer came back and said, I miss you. They're just trying again. They're just trying their luck again and seeing that maybe after all this time and, they romance you again, that maybe you will send money this time. And that's one of the reasons they do it. Scammers don't forget you. Scammers keep your link. They keep your information. And a lot of really good scammers will keep you on file. They'll have a file with your photo, your likes, your dislikes, your email, your name, your number, where you live, where you work, when you get paid, everything. So, you have to think of a scammer. They keep all this information. You're just a client to them. And they call victims clients. They say, my client is going to pay me today. So just remember, when they come back, it just means they're trying again. They've either exhausted another victim and they're trying you again, or they have a new victim and, they're just trying again and again. So just remember, if a scammer comes back, just block them. It's kind of like revisiting a bad ex. You don't do it. Just remember that. Okay. You don't want to keep speaking with the same person over and over again. You don't go back to a bad ex. You shouldn't go back to that person. We've got a few comments that I'm trying to read. Let's take a look here. We've got a lot of comments. It's actually going pretty quickly. We had one lady wrote, scammers are everywhere, but I think in Facebook it was less. I have never seen any military profiles in Facebook. It's seldom. They are now in dating sites. There's a lot of fake military profiles on Facebook. You could type in Tom Smith, U.S. Army right now, and there's probably 100 of them. They are moving to Instagram. There are more and more of them in Instagram, and more of them are going to Hangouts. They're going to military blog sites and things like that. Someone had asked me, where are they getting these photos from? There's a few military fan pages, like tatted up military guys and weightlifting military dudes and things like that, that have their own blogs on Instagram, and it's like hot military guys groups and things like that, where they do post photos of military men with their shirts off, buff bodybuilder guys or tatted up military guys. Scammers, this is like a free-for-all playground for scammers. And they steal the photos from there. So, people have asked us, where do these scammers get these photos from? And we say, groups, blogs, fan pages of military men. They just steal them right off there. And there's some military guys that'll post 100 photos of themselves, taking selfies in the mirror with their underwear, posing and buffing out their muscles and things. And they like to show their bodies off, and the scammers are like, this is awesome. And they steal 20 of those photos and say, here I am, dear. I have 20 photos of myself. I'm real. But there are a lot of military profiles on Facebook. There's tons of them. If anything, like I said, they're making it harder to make fake profiles, but there are still tons of them. So don't let your guard down when you're on Facebook, because they're just multiplying. And I don't think it's ever going to stop. I think, if Facebook ever goes the way of MySpace and kind of fades into existence, you're going to have Instagram, you're going to have Infinity. There's all kinds of social apps, and they're on every single one. So just remember that. Don't let your guard down. No. All right, so we have a couple more questions here. Let's see. Oh, we have one of our regulars wrote, what about giving to a charity or orphanage? I had a man ask me to donate to his orphanage, and I don't know what to do. I will say that there's a lot of people, and I'm not going to single out a certain country, but we've had a few from Uganda and the Congo and places like that, where it'll be an African man with his profile. It'll be a legit profile. It'll be him. And he'll say, dear, can you send me $300 to my orphanage? I'm taking care of orphans. And a lot of times the photos will be from UNICEF or, Aid to Africa or one of these websites. And he'll say, well, I own an orphanage. Could you help me help these children? And I'm going to give you the same advice Ann would give you. If you want to donate to an orphanage, you want to help children, that's wonderful. We love kids. We hate to see kids disadvantaged. Anne for many, many years donated to helping children in Africa and children in displaced countries. But the fact of the matter is, you need to go to the website If you want to donate, go to UNICEF, go to United Way, go to Aid for Africa, go to the legit websites of these orphanages and sign up. You know, you see those commercials for pennies a day, you can help a child. Those are legit websites. And you'll get a packet, and you can sign up, give so much a month, and they'll send you photos of the child, they'll send you artwork that they do and things like that. And that's, if you really want to help a child, that's a legit way. It's a wonderful thing to do, but do it in a legit way. Contact the actual website. Personally, no, do not give money to some strange man from Uganda that you met that says he runs an orphanage with, 15 children. Don't trust any quote-unquote orphanage from Facebook. If someone PMs you and says, "Dear, I own the Happy Children Orphanage in the Congo, will you give me $500? Don't do it. Go Google yourself. That's what Google's for. Go on Google, go on Bing, go on whatever search site you use and look up orphanages, look up legit charities and sign yourself up if you want to give. But do not give to somebody on Facebook because, maybe the person is legit, but you don't know what he's doing with that money. You don't know if it's going to that child. You don't even know if he has any children around him. And if you give to an actual charity, you see the results. Like I said, you see the artwork the children do, you see their school work, you see their photos, and that's a legit way to give. So never, never, never give money to a quote-unquote orphanage on Facebook. Also, do not give money to the royal family. I cannot say this enough, and I cannot tell you how many times people have brought me Prince Harry, Prince William, the Queen of England, and said, "Oh, the Queen of England's on Hangouts and she wants me to donate to her charity, or she has a special tiara she wants to send me." The royal family is not on Facebook. Prince Harry and his new wife-to-be are not on Facebook trying to send you special wedding invitations or wedding gifts or anything. Those people don't know who you are. They don't care who you are. They're not going to talk to you. Okay, so don't fall for it. And it's the same with famous actors. We've had so many people bring us, The Rock and Dwayne Johnson, The Rock and Vin Diesel, and saying, Vin Diesel said I was a super fan and he loves me and he wants to marry me. Vin Diesel doesn't know who you are. Vin Diesel doesn't want to know who you are. Okay, famous people have beautiful women and friends and family and coworkers and connections, and they're not looking on Facebook for somebody who lives in Hinkle Dinkle, Arkansas, who works at Walmart and who has watched all his movies. He's not going to talk to you. He doesn't know who you are. And I don't mean to be harsh about it, but it's true. I'm a huge fan of certain bands and certain musicians. I know they're not going to talk to me. They don't care that I have every album they've ever bought. They're not going to talk to me. So remember that as well. I hate to sound harsh. You're not special. I'm not special. We don't have these connections to famous people, and then we certainly don't have them through Facebook. Margaret asked, how do I get my money back from Western Union? This is great. I'm glad you asked. There is a class action lawsuit going for Western Union. They have extended the date. I believe the last day you can file is May 30th. We're going to put a link to the website. It's ftc.gov, and I'll drop a link after the Q&A. If you want to check it out, you can sign up. It's the only legit website where you can sign up for the class action suit. So if someone PMs you on Facebook and says, "Here, dear, you can sign up here and it's $50," just block them. ftc.gov is the only place that you can sign up, and like I said, we'll drop the link for you. You have until May 30th, so you want to get on that right away. But we'll drop that for you after this is over with. So thank you for asking. I want to talk a few things about Google Hangouts. Oh, lucky you, Michelle. You got Prince Harry today. Lucky you. I hope you'll be able to go to the wedding. Again, the royal family is not chatting with any of you or me. I want to talk on something that's pretty interesting that a lot of you might not know about, and it's a pretty important subject, and I want to touch on this really quickly because it's happening quite often. Hang on a second. So you're talking to a profile, and he says to you, "Honey, would you do me a favor? Would you sign me up for Gmail? Sign me up a Gmail account." And you say, "Oh, okay, I can do that for you." And they may use the excuse of, "Oh, there's a bad connection here. I can't sign up," something like that. So what they're doing is, and I'll answer Andrew's question in a moment, what they're doing is scammers will ask you to sign up for a Gmail. They'll use any excuse in the world. They'll say bad connection, I don't know how, whatever. What they do is they have you sign up for a Gmail account. So you sign up for it, you sign into it, and it's on your computer. Because a lot of us, like myself, we use Chrome, Google Chrome, or whatever. But you sign up for that Gmail account, you're signed in, and the scammer's messaging you through Facebook or whatever. And he says to you, dear, what's the login information? So you give him the email address, you give him the password, and you're still logged into that computer, you've signed up. He logs in. Well, guess what? They can send you a hijacking virus to your computer, to your laptop, sometimes to your phone, depending on what settings you have. When they send you that virus, sometimes you don't even know you get it. Sometimes it'll freeze your computer, it'll lock your computer. Scammers that are really good can get a mirrored image of your computer, and they can look at everything you've done on your computer because you signed them up for a Gmail account and you remained logged in at the same time they logged in. Do not sign up for any Gmail, any Facebook accounts. Do not open a Google Voice for anybody. I don't care who they are. A 5-year-old child can sign up for Gmail. So you can tell that man who's a successful businessman or an elite sniper soldier in the army that you can sign up for your own Gmail. Because they can get into your computer, they can mirror it, and you think, well, I'll just sign out. They can send you a virus while you're signed in. And they can get into everything and anything. If you're doing banking, if you pay your credit cards online, if you buy a pizza online with your credit card, they can get that information once they're in there. So don't sign up for any kind of Gmail. Don't sign up for any kind of Facebook. Don't sign up for anything for anybody. A real legit person can do it themselves. I can sign up for a Gmail account in 5 minutes if I wanted one. So don't do it. Just tell them no. If anything, I would block them because it would be very suspicious. Andrea asks, how do I know if this guy is okay when he is only on Messenger, not able to see his profile? Okay. There's a few ways. Depends on what he's telling you. What's his story? Is he a soldier? Is he an oil rig worker? What has he told you about himself? If you can't see a profile, usually on Messenger, there's a little bubble that comes up with their photo. What does the photo look like? Is it one you've seen before? Does it look familiar? Listen to what he's telling you. What's his story? What's his excuse? Is he widowed with a kid? Is he, working in Norway and he has his kid in Florida with the nanny? If he's a soldier, yeah, I'd be very, very, very cautious of that one. Legit soldiers aren't private messaging random women on the internet. Soldiers, especially deployed ones, are very busy. They're not on social media going, I need to find a wife, a girlfriend, I'm so lonely. Scammers are using messenger apps instead of signing up for Facebook. And it's quite easy to do. They just sign up for the app. It's already on their phone, and they can sign up and sign in and sign out and switch accounts very, very easily, especially on an Android or an Apple phone. So you have a scammer who has 5 accounts. One is really his, and the other 3 are fake, and they just use a messenger app. All they do is tap, there's a little button, especially like myself, I have an Android phone. There's a little button that you can switch accounts on, and it just switches the messenger back and forth between all your accounts. So you don't actually have to have a profile. You can just have an account with an uploaded photo. And as I said, if you're talking to a soldier, I would definitely question that. If you want to come to our inbox and give us some more information, we're happy to help you after the Q&A as well and try to get to the bottom of it. But it's more than likely a scammer that you're talking to. Like I said, real soldiers don't sit online messaging random women, and especially deployed ones. So it's probably a scammer. Let's see, what else? We've got a couple questions from Josephine. The guy that tried to scam me started out on Words with Friends and then asked me to talk on Hangouts. They do. We tend to think that if we're on a gaming site like Words with Friends or Trivia Mania or any of those kind of sites that we're safe. Scammers hang out on those sites. They hang out on Words with Friends. They hang out on Trivia Mania. They hang out on Farmville. And they start chatting with you, and they'll play a game of Words with Friends with you or a game of chess, checkers, whatever you're playing. And that's how they spark romantic interest. They say, oh, dear, that was a great game. I'd really like to tell me more about yourself. You're very smart. And that's what they do. There's a lot of gaming sites as well, like Pogo and EA Sports Games and EA Games and Toonville and all these games. They have scammers on them. There's scammers that will sit there and build an entire Farmville or Frontierville farm and go ahead and say, Oh, we share the same thing. Let me give you some of my virtual pigs and cows and coins. And oh, we're really hitting it off. So yes, they are on gaming sites. So don't think just because you're not finding a scammer on a dating site means that it's okay. Because they're on every gaming site. They're on every site known to man. I don't care what site. They're on news sites. They'll watch someone comment on a Fox News or CNN News or whatever news story, and they'll say, "Oh dear, I agree with you. Let's talk." And that's how they do it. They're like vultures stalking prey. We've had so many people come to us and say, "I'm on a working women's site," and there's a page on Facebook called Working Women, and it's meant to be a positive and uplifting page for women and just people in general, and those that, single moms and people really doing it for themselves. And these scammers, they prey on that site, and they watch to see what you comment on, and then they'll write, "I agree, dear, let's talk," or they get your profile from commentary you've made on those pages. So nowhere is safe. There's nowhere you can hide, nowhere you can go that there's not a scammer. So just remember that if you're on a site about cancer survivors and you have some strange man say to you, "Oh, my sister's friend has cancer and I'd like to be your friend," it's very suspicious. So always keep your guard up no matter what. All right. So we've got a couple more questions. Yeah, Charles was writing. iTunes cards. They ask for iTunes cards, and a lot of people have. And I want to start with a quick story. We had a lady come to our inbox about a week ago, and she was talking to a fake profile. She found out it was fake, and she said, "Well, he asked for iTunes cards, and he was in Nigeria, so he must be a musician." No, musicians don't need iTunes cards. I mean, they could use them for music, but they don't need them. I played music for many years. I never wanted an iTunes card. What they do with them, iTunes cards online to a scammer is as good as having a $20 bill in your hand. They trade them as currency online. There's tons and tons of groups on Facebook that just trade iTunes cards that scammers get from people. So if you have a soldier, a businessman, a hot porn star looking chick, and she's asking you for iTunes cards, he's asking you for iTunes cards, it's a scammer. They don't need them. Soldiers don't need them. They don't need them for their phones while deployed. They don't need them for any other reason. They're not going to go sell them in downtown Afghanistan and Kabul. It's a scammer. And scammers try to get as many as they can. They trade them for money. They trade them for Bitcoin. They trade them for all kinds of stuff. So don't ever give numbers to an iTunes card, to anybody. And that goes the same for if the IRS is asking you to pay your taxes with an iTunes card, or the power company or the cable company. It's a scam. We don't trade currency. We don't use iTunes cards to pay bills, and it's never going to be like that. So if anyone asks you for one, block them. They're a scammer. So we've got a couple more questions. We've had a lot of interesting ones, and I'm trying to read the ones in the chat at the same time. One of our regulars also asked, should I report my scam to law enforcement? Yes. But I will say that don't expect the moment you report them to law enforcement that the scammers are going to swoop down to that neighborhood in Lagos and arrest your scammer. It's very rare that scammers are arrested. A lot of times you'll read in the news, 6 scammers in Lagos arrested for fraud. That was a long investigation when they did that, and a lot of that fraud they get arrested for is banking fraud. It's large sums of money being transported in and out through wire fraud. So if you see that and you think, well, my scammer should be arrested, it's not necessarily going to happen. But you should report it to law enforcement. There's a couple reasons why. The first reason why is you need to have a record of it. If you've opened a bank account or done anything like that with involving a fake profile, if anything happens to your finances, your social security card, anything like that, you want that police report. You want those numbers. You want it dictated. You want it written down. You want it on file. Secondly, it's good to let law enforcement know that this is happening. Too many people are embarrassed by the scam and they don't want to say anything. But the fact of the matter is, the more people that talk about it, the more police reports that are made, the more that law enforcement is going to see this is a huge issue and we need to address it. So it's good to report any crime. Don't be ashamed to report this crime. It's no different than if you got your purse snatched in the subway. This is the same thing. you are the victim of a crime, of course you should report it to law enforcement. If, depending on what country you're in, United States, you can go to ic3.gov and you can call your local police depending on how the scam went. If you got involved with bank accounts and things like that, then you definitely need to report it. I want to say hi to Gwen. Hi, Gwen. So you definitely do want to report it and let law enforcement have a record of that. And it's very important. Now, another good reason is it's possible that if you report it to law enforcement and there's other people that have reported it and you've all been the victim of this same scammer and it goes across the globe and Interpol gets information and it goes on and on and on, there's a possibility they could catch the scammer at some point. It's rare, but if you don't report it, then people don't know what's going on. So yes, absolutely report it to law enforcement. Let everybody know what's going on. Make sure there's a record of it. Protect yourself. And if you have been the victim of a scam and financially you gave out your bank details, your credit information, go to ftc.gov, put a freeze on your credit. Because scammers will use your social security card. They will use your information to open bank accounts, loans, and things like that. So do make sure that you do report it because it's very important to have a record. So just always do that. Don't be ashamed. Nothing to be ashamed of. Just do what you got to do and take care of business. You're a victim of a crime. So, all right. Cheers. So the next question we have, there's a couple that we have left, but one of the more important ones, this other one was asked by one of our regulars. And this kind of ties in with reporting it to law enforcement. I've been scammed. Who do I tell? What do I do? How do I tell my family? Should I tell my family? It seems to be a delicate subject. Romance scamming is not like other crimes a lot in the social aspect of it. People are ashamed. They're ashamed of, you tell your best friend or you tell your sister, I've been scammed. What happened? I fell in love with a man online and I gave him all my money. And a lot of times the family and stuff will laugh at you or they go, you idiot. But we need to remove the stigma of scamming. And the stigma that a romance scam is a foolish scam and the person is stupid. No victim is stupid, and we can't say this enough. We have people write on the page, well, if you got scammed, you deserved it. No. Well, if you got scammed, you're stupid. No. If you got scammed, you're a victim of a crime, period. And you should talk to somebody. Talk to law enforcement. And you have to heal from it, and you have to talk to somebody, whether you talk to your therapist, whether you talk to your sister, your friends, your best girlfriend, your best guy friend, whatever. You need to get it out there. You need to let people know what happened, and you need to do so without the shame. You're a victim. That's all you are. There's nothing to be ashamed of. There's nothing to be scared of. You need to talk about it, and it's very important. You're financially scammed, but at the same time, you're emotionally scammed. And you have to deal with those emotions. Too many people are victims and they become so angry and hateful and they never say anything, or they even become suicidal because they're afraid to speak out. We've had many victims come to us and say, I tried to commit suicide or I was going to commit suicide. Don't. Stand up for yourself, be strong, but talk about it. Talk about it as if you were a victim of any other crime. If you were mugged, if you were beaten, something happened to you physically. It's good to do that. And the emotional toll, you know what? You lose money and it's horrible. We all work hard for our money, but money can be regained. You can work another job and get your money back. And, unfortunately it's hard and financially devastating, but the emotional toll is more devastating than any amount of money that you lose. So you have to remember that it's an emotional scam. It's not just a financial scam. It's not just I lost my savings. It's I lost my trust in a man or a woman. I lost my trust in love. I lost my trust in human beings. I'm suspicious of everybody. I don't want to make friends because they could be scammers. And you cannot let a scammer take that from you. Don't let them take away who you are. And I say this to victims all the time. They come to the inbox and they say, I'm destroyed. I'm totally destroyed. No, you're not destroyed. You cannot allow a scammer to destroy you. You have to be strong. You have to talk to somebody about it, get those emotions out, talk to your best girlfriend, talk to your sister, talk to your mom, your dad, whoever, that you really trust, and put it out there in a way that, I was a victim of a scam. I was a victim of a crime. and hopefully, they are understanding, and they should be. But definitely don't keep it to yourself. Don't be ashamed, and just continue talking about it and emotionally deal with it. If you have to go to a therapist and deal with it, well, so be it. But make sure that you do talk to someone. And remember, our inbox, I mean, we're not professionals in any means as far as being therapists or anything, but our inbox is always open if you want to break the ice and tell us what's going on. We never, share your name or information with anybody. So we're always willing to listen as well if that helps you to take the next step to talk to a loved one. So remember, we're here all the time. All right. So we've got a few more questions. I want to thank everyone again for coming, and thank you for all the kind words that you've put into the chat box. I'm trying to read it at the same time as doing. I've got like a bunch of screens open. So, but Andrea, yes, you can inbox on Messenger. Just click message at the top of the page. It'll take you to our inbox on Messenger, and the conversation is very private, and we can help you. So, and we'll get to you right after this Q&A, because our inbox, we haven't worked through our inbox yet today, so it's pretty full. So just bear with us, and we will answer you as soon as we can. All right, and anybody else that needs help. So we got another one, and this also ties in with your family. A lady wrote in anonymously, and she said, "I was scammed by a soldier profile online. My husband doesn't know. What can I do? Can you help me?" So this is a tough one. I'm going to start by talking about Anne and myself. It's very wrong to cheat on your husband or your wife or somebody. It's just morally wrong. But we don't judge other people. That's our own beliefs. If you're in a relationship, you're in a relationship. You don't go looking, for a soldier online. You certainly don't have an emotional or physical affair. That was your choice. It was your mistake. No matter what happens in your marriage, you should either work through it or divorce the person before you go looking for somebody else. But you are a victim. I don't know your situation. I'm not going to judge you on your choices, but I will say I don't know your situation, so I don't know if you've sent all of your husband's savings or if you've spent the family vacation fund. If your marriage was in trouble before the affair, your marriage will still be in trouble after. So I think you should just be honest and let them know what happened. I mean, they're going to find out. If you've sent a lot of money to somebody, your husband or your wife is going to find out. So I think it's best to just be honest and either work on your marriage or divorce. But definitely don't keep a secret like that, because they will find out. I would rather someone tell me than to find out when I go to check the family vacation fund and it's all been sent to Nigeria. So that's a tough situation. You're going to have to be honest with the person you're in a relationship with and let them know what happened. That's what I would do personally. So I hope you get that straightened out. So the next question we have, my guy friend is talking to another man online. This man is asking for money. I think it's a scam, but do scammers pretend to be gay to get money from victims? Absolutely. Scammers target all people. And we're finding more and more of our gay and lesbian friends are being scammed online. You'll have a Nigerian man who is a straight man who is married with 10 kids, pretend to be a gay man or a gay soldier or a gay buffed out dude, and talk to another man and pretend to be in a gay relationship with him just to get his money. We've had several of ladies who were lesbians who have brought us fake lady profiles that they were talking to thinking they're in a relationship with another woman, and they come to find out it was a guy from Ghana. So they do pretend to be gay, they do pretend to be lesbian. They don't care. They just want your money. They'll lie to do whatever they have to do to get your money. They pretend to be gay, they pretend to be the IRS, they pretend to be Vin Diesel. So no, they don't care. And if your friend is sending money to someone he's not met in person, then it definitely will be a scam. And I like to say to all of our friends in the gay community, do be careful, because there are scammers targeting you guys as well. And it's unfortunate, but it is happening quite a lot. So be very careful. And again, if somebody asks you for money and you've never met them in person, block them. There's no reason why someone you've never met would want money from you other than they're scamming you. Legit people don't ask people they've never met for money. So just remember that, okay? Next question. We've got a couple more, and then we'll go ahead and close this for now. I got a message from a lady online who said her brother is interested in me, but he's too shy to talk. She says he's a 53-year-old successful business owner. I think this is odd, and she told me that she wants me to write to his Gmail address or to friend him on Facebook so I can get to know him better. What do you think? Scammers, I'll start by saying if you're a 53-year-old man, and you're a businessman at that, you won't be too shy to talk to a lady that you like. Legit people, at least legit men and women, I mean, I'm a shy person outside of online, but I would still, if I saw somebody I wanted to talk to, I would speak to them. I wouldn't act like a 10-year-old schoolgirl and say, do me a favor and go talk to that man for me. He, I like him. You wouldn't want a relationship with a guy who's too afraid to approach you to begin with and then sends his sister or his friend. That would be kind of weird anyway. Scammers do this. Scammers pretend to be the sister, the brother, my daddy really likes you, but he's afraid to talk to you. And it's the scammer. It's a scammer using a fake profile to talk to you and try to convince you to talk to another fake profile. And especially the red flag should be out if you have a teenage girl come up to you on Facebook and say, my daddy really likes you, but he's too scared to talk to you. He wants to meet you, and we need a new mommy. First of all, if you're dating somebody or if you're interested in somebody online, your child is the first thing you protect. You would not send your child to a stranger and say, my daddy likes you. It's not cute, it's creepy. And scammers do that, and they think it's cute, and they think it pulls at the heartstrings of people. And in reality, most normal people are going to look at that and say, that's kind of creepy. You're not a very good father if you're sending your child to go talk to a stranger. So no, scammers do that. Scammers pretend to be other people. They pretend to be children. And we've said this a million times. We've had victims talk to us and say, well, I wrote to his child, little Timmy, who is in Nigeria on a school excursion. He wanted me to write to his child. A legit person with a legit child is not going to send you to email their child when they haven't even met you. You're dating someone with a child and you meet in person, you may not meet their children for several dates or for several months. They want to protect their child. They want to make sure that the relationship's going to work out before they go ahead and introduce you as a possible new equation to the relationship. But a scammer is really quick to say, this is little Timmy, email Timmy, and then Timmy will write back to you and say, are you my new mommy? It doesn't work that way in the real world. And scammers use that. They like to try and pull at the heartstrings of people going, oh, this poor single father, he doesn't have a mother, and the mother died of a car accident, or her breast exploded, or whatever stupid excuse they use for the dead wife. And they try to manipulate you, and they do that. And also, that's another thing with fake profiles. If you are talking to a profile and they have a photo of a little kid eating an ice cream cone as their wallpaper, it's probably a scammer. Or they have a photo of themselves and then a photo of a little kid tying his shoes, and that's Timmy. It's probably a fake. And most parents protect their children. They don't put their child's photos in public. At least you shouldn't be doing it anyways. And they would have those photos secure. They wouldn't have them as wallpaper. Most people wouldn't do that if they want to be safe with their children. So be very, very careful of somebody that talks to you and says that their daddy likes you. It's probably the scammer pretending to be a child. So that's, I believe, our last question. Yeah, this is our last question that we had in our inbox today. If anyone has questions, you can write them in the chat box now if you'd like. I'll answer a few. And otherwise, we'll do another open Q&A later this evening. The best ones are the ones that want to keep talking to you but don't have enough time on their internet. Yeah, they do. And I love the ones that are soldiers and, oh dear, I'm in the war zone, but I don't have enough minutes on my phone. Could you please get me an iTunes card? No. And again, I can't say this enough, and Anna and myself get very frustrated with this. Legit soldiers do not pay for a leave. They don't need iTunes cards. They don't need money for bullets. They don't need you to buy their uniform. They don't need you to pay for their medicine. They don't need you to pay for little Timmy's heart surgery. Legit soldiers are paid. Their bank accounts aren't held hostage until they get off the war camp. If little Timmy has a heart condition, well, guess what? Little Timmy gets TRICARE, which is given to the military and their families, and all medical is paid for. The soldier in question was probably has USAA, and they probably have their credit union and have everything covered. They can access their bank accounts. Little Timmy can get food. Their military children are not starving, and military men are not starving while they're deployed. So if you're talking to a military man and he says, "Oh, it's horrible here in the camp, dear, I don't have any money for foodstuffs," it's a scammer. Military men are paid very well and they're fed very well. They don't go without. And always, 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 I can't say this enough, check the name tag on the uniform. If you're talking to Bob Smith and the uniform name says James, it's a scammer. It's just a scammer. You had, let's see, Elro, oh my God, I had one last night that was a sergeant in the Army, said she was in special ops. That's another thing. Special ops, black ops, snipers, shoot to kill soldiers, elite special forces, people that are coming down from the ceiling like 007 to kill a Russian spy are not on Facebook telling you they're a spy, telling you they're a sniper, and telling you they're in Afghanistan going to kill a special, a real soldier, isn't going to tell you, I shot bin Laden from the ceiling of the palace yesterday, dear. They're not doing that. Special ops, snipers, killers, elite forces, black ops, Navy SEALs, special elite people are not on Facebook telling everybody they are. Exactly. And so if you're talking to somebody online and they say, "Oh dear, I'm a special forces man, I'm here on a sniper mission at the camp in Syria to kill ISIS," you're talking to some little African kid sitting in a sweatbox of a hut somewhere in Nigeria who's probably drinking cough syrup and telling you that he's a special ops man, and he's probably a 16-year-old kid who's got 50 grand in his pocket because he scams people. So just remember that, or a woman, And we have a lot of female scammers. There's tons of female scammers. They're harder to find. They're not as flashy as the guys, but just as many women are scamming, and also women soldier profiles. Just remember that sexy soldier woman who's a special ops is probably a little African boy. So just remember that, and just keep in mind, and a lot of people ask us, and I'll finish up this Q&A in a second. We've had people ask, where can I meet a soldier? I want to meet a soldier. I have to be in a relationship with a soldier. And I'm going to tell you, there is no safe site to meet some hot, ripped military soldier who's got an oiled chest and is holding his machine gun. Look, if you want to meet a soldier, there's plenty of places you can. If you, I don't want to say that we're desperate. If you are so hell-bent on meeting a soldier, you have to marry a soldier. You won't marry the cashier down at Walmart. You want an Army man. Okay, here's how you can meet a soldier. Go volunteer at a VA hospital. Go volunteer at Wounded Warriors. Go volunteer at any kind of military-based charity drive. If you live near a military base, you can go to the base, you can go to the base front. There is an inquiry you can ask about dinner dances and mixers. They do have military mixers where you can go on to the base there's special places they have, and you can do mixers. You can do meet and greets with military men. You can do certain things like that. If you just have to have a military man. That's the way you're going to meet one. And I'll tell you this, you know what? If you're really serious and you really care about the military and you care about veterans and you care about Army men and Navy men and Marines, volunteer at Wounded Warriors. Volunteer at a VA hospital. Volunteer at a military-based suicide prevention outlet. Volunteer and help soldiers. Don't sit there and throw yourself at a Facebook profile because the soldier has a big oiled up chest and he's in his underwear and he's posing and flexing and, oh my God, I just have to touch him. If you want a real soldier, a genuine, real military man, and you care so much about the military that you just can't help yourself, volunteer and help out the Wounded Warriors. Volunteer and help out the veterans. That's the best way you're going to meet a military man. You might not meet the man of your dreams. You might not meet your husband, but you'll meet a lot of great people, and you'll be doing yourself a good service to your country. So if you want to meet a military man, that's how you do it. Go to a legit charity and help them out. And yes, engineers, oil riggers, Oil riggers are not sitting on the internet chatting. They're not on an oil rig off the coast of Mexico chit-chatting with you. They don't need iTunes cards. They don't need any of that. So please remember that. And a lot of popular professions are soldiers, oil rig workers, models trapped in Nigeria that are hot porn stars, engineers, doctors, those kind of things. And as I said again, scammers are on every outlet. They're on Skype, they're on Hangouts, they're on eHarmony, they're everywhere. You're not safe. Okay. So with that, I'm going to close. It's been going on for about an hour. We're going to do another Q&A in a few hours. It'll be an open Q&A where I will just start video and I will just answer your questions. I'm not going to ramble on with anything. I'm just going to answer questions that are in the chat. So if you have questions, we will answer them in a few hours. Could be 2 hours, could be 3 hours, but I'll come back on here and chat with you guys. So I want to thank everyone for joining us. We'll be doing a Q&A probably once a month. We'll do another one in June. So happy spring and summer to my friends that are here in America, and happy autumn to my friends and loved one in Australia. So remember to check us out, Scamming Scammers Action on Facebook, and we are on YouTube with Scamming Scammers. We'll be doing new videos, try to do a couple a week, and keep educating. So I appreciate everybody. If you need help, come to the inbox. We will help you, and we'll get to you as soon as possible. And I'll see you guys soon. Until then, stay safe, keep your money to yourself, love yourself, not the scammers, and we will talk to you on our next Q&A. We'll see you later. Bye.